In the US, the death of George Floyd has sparked massive protests, riots, and looting across the United States. Protests have also spilled over to Canada, and Trudeau finally plays the race card as well. This is the Great White North Report.
When it comes to power, ain't no right or wrong.
Okay, for those living under a rock and don't know anything, a couple of days ago, a guy named George Floyd was getting some groceries and happened to use a $20 bogus counterfeit bill at a deli. Someone at the deli called the police. The police arrived. Apparently, George Floyd resisted arrest, and the police wrestled on the ground. One of the police officers put his knee on Floyd's head and neck, causing him to have problems breathing. And we're not sure exactly everything that happened because I've never seen the full video from start to finish. I've only seen clips that they'll play, and there's different angles as well. And he died of asphyxiation, had problems breathing, died of asphyxiation. Now, the police officers in question have obviously been fired. They'll probably be arrested, charged with manslaughter, and I can't see them getting off. They'll go to jail, and lives have been ruined because of this. Now, one of the guys has got 10 prior conduct complaints over his 19 years on the force, but never faced disciplinary action. So 10 times over 19 years, that's less than 1 year. That's still kind of too many, I would say. So they tried to revive him, and they couldn't. When the police finally realized that Floyd was in trouble and unresponsive, they called the ambulance. The ambulance came, loaded him up right away because they're unaware of the severe situation. Spent an hour trying to revive Floyd, and he was pronounced dead at the local hospital. Now, I'm pretty sure the police officers involved had no intent to kill Mr. Floyd. It's an unfortunate accident, but there has to be a reckoning by those police officers for what they did. And it goes to show that everyone, when the police come for you and you're under arrest, when the police come for you like that, just go quietly. Don't struggle. It'll go much easier on you. So the FBI announced it's going to investigate the incident in joint probe with state authorities. Trump pledged on Wednesday that the feds would conduct an expedited investigation. So obviously the federal government's already involved. They've taken this very seriously, and that's good. It's a good step. What isn't so good is that people are taking advantage of this and using this as a pretext to do stupid things like loot and spark violence. Here in New York City, far away from where this actually happened, in the Soho neighborhood, you see shops have been looted and broken windows. So vandalism, looting, rioting, that kind of things. People breaking the windows, getting in, stealing stuff. What does this have to do with Mr. Floyd's death? Nothing. This is just people taking advantage of a situation. Some people are doing this, are politically motivated to do this. Other people are doing it for fun. Others are doing it to get what they want. They're all hiding behind Mr. Floyd's death, and I'm sure him and his family, if he knew what was going on, he would not want this, and his family definitely does not want this kind of stuff. I wouldn't want my name associated to this kind of behavior. Look at this clown standing in a car that's burnt out. This chick throwing tear gas into a crowd. That's the kind of stuff you don't need. If you're going to protest, do it quietly. Take Hong Kong, for example. The American public could look at Hong Kong as a prime example of what you should do. Protest peacefully against an authoritarian regime. So the NYPD terrorist official says the unnamed groups planned protest violence in advance. And I quite agree. People like Antifa are always planning these kind of dumb, stupid things. People are moving their political agendas. This isn't about poor black men being killed by police. And a lot of these people being arrested in New York, apparently from out of state. Okay. Look at this. You got 2 Brooklyn lawyers throwing Molotov cocktails and inciting other protesters to toss incendiary devices. They've already been caught. Their faces were seen on camera. They've been caught. Now they're going to spend the next 10 years in jail, and their lives are ruined. Like, why? What's the point? Another upstate woman was held without bail for throwing Molotov cocktails. How's this helping Mr. Floyd and his family? Or anything like that? It's not. People got to remember that in the United States, more white people are killed by police than black people. Now, there is a skew because the percentage of white men to black men is higher. There are more of them, so they're more likely to get killed by police. But it does happen. But you don't hear it. It's not sensationalized in the news. There are also Latinos and Asians who get killed by police every year, but the numbers aren't as high. And because of that, organizations like Black Lives Matter always uses the death of a black person by police to further their own political agendas. Helps them get funding. In the United States, more black men die from black men, other black men. It's a pure fact. So that's enough of the United States stuff. Let's go to Canada. Trudeau says anti-black racism is alive in Canada. We need to be better. No kidding. Protests against police brutality erupt. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh calls for reform. Yeah, seriously. Jagmeet Singh, the guy who lost an election. I'm going to listen to him. Now, Trudeau, yeah. Okay, Mr. Hypocrite. Go put your black face back on. Anyway. Trudeau vowed to do more to end black racism in Canada, and he wants to address systematic inequalities of long-plagued black and Indigenous communities. I understand about Indigenous communities, but not so much black communities. More sympathy for the Indigenous communities. They have much harder challenges. They face racism from not only whites, but also from blacks and Asians and other immigrant groups. Now, the problem with racism, he says racism still exists in Canada. It exists everywhere in the world, you dumbass. Everyone is racist to a point. People are either going to be less racist or more racist. The idea is to keep everyone less racist. And it's not just color, it's also an ethnicity. Also, communities can be racist towards each other. Regions can be racist towards each other. So he wants to fund black community groups, support anti-racism programming, and bolster the collection of racial data of Stats Canada. Why just blacks? Why not anyone else? So going back to the George Floyd protest, it seems like thousands in Vancouver rally against police as well. This shows solidarity. Okay. Why? The U.S. is descending into violence with looting in cities from New York to Seattle. Police firing tear gas and rubber bullets at demonstrators while they're getting hit with Molotov cocktails and tear gas and other fun stuff. Meanwhile, look at them. They're gathering at a time where the CCP virus is raging. It's only going to take one idiot that's infected to infect a whole bunch of other people. Good work, buddy, guys. Again, hundreds march in Windsor to show solidarity with U.S. protests to honor George Floyd. That's not honoring the guy. You're making him into a martyr. He probably didn't want to be. Coalition for Justice, Unity, Equity. See, this is a political group pushing their agenda. Now, thousands also rallied in Toronto to protest racism in the wake of the death of Regis Korchinski-Paquet. This is a lady who fell off at a balcony, 24 stories, and was killed. Police have been called for a domestic disturbance, and when they walked into the apartment, something happened and she fell out of the balcony and died. No one knows for sure what happened. Did she jump, or was she pushed, or was there a struggle and she happened to fall over? We don't know. And the Ontario Police Watchdog is investigating the death. This is what happens when police are involved in the death of someone. They have their own internal investigations to look into that. So am I in favor of all this protests in Canada over the death of Mr. Floyd in the United States? No. It's something that rarely happens in Canada. If anything, take it from look at the police perspective, especially in Canada. They get called in to unknown situations, and unknown things are going to happen. And unfortunately, this was something that should not have happened, but did happen. That brings me to the last thing, CBC.ca. Desmond Cole, I don't know who he is, some kind of activist, he's an author, says we should disarm and defund police and give money to communities. Are you kidding me? This guy's a joke. Disarm and defund police. If you disarm the police, especially in a place like Toronto where there's a lot of gang violence and gun crime, then the police are not going to want to respond to anything. Why should they stick their necks out when they don't have the tools to do it? So you just disarm and defund the police, so the police aren't going to have all the fancy gadgets. They're not going to be able to do their jobs. There's going to be less police, and then a place like Toronto is going to erupt into chaos. That'd be my prediction. Then you want to give those monies to communities. We give so much money to these communities and nothing happens. My community gets nothing. It's pretty peaceful. We get absolutely nothing. While these communities in Toronto, in places like Toronto, get everything. I tell you what will help. It's called putting the discipline back in our schools and in homes. Stable home life. 2 parents, at least one that's working with a job, making sure your kids and keeping track of your kids, making sure they stay out of trouble, and if they are in trouble, help them out. Even report them to the police yourself. Turn them in yourself. Stay in school and you can do anything. So I don't agree with this clown. Communities can help themselves much better than federal government throwing money. Once you throw money to a community, they're going to keep expecting handouts. Anytime a problem comes up, the federal government's got to come in and give them money. That's not the way to fix it. The communities themselves have to work together to do their own job and fix their own problems. Anyway, that's enough about me ranting. I'd like to hear from any Canadians. What do you guys think of the George Floyd protests? I'm not in favor of it. I think it degrades his memory to the family of George Floyd. And I hope he rests in peace. Until next time, this is the Great White North Report. I'm out of here.
Never in the papers, long seen on TV. Money, guns, and power.